In the distant reaches of the galaxy, the Zephyrians, a once proud alien civilization known for their advanced technology and vast cultural heritage, faced the brink of extinction. Years of relentless war, dwindling resources, and internal strife have reduced their sprawling homeworld to a shattered shell of its former glory. Their cities lie in ruins and their population is scattered and desperate. With enemies closing in from all sides, the Zephyrians make a final, desperate gamble. They send a powerful SOS beacon across the stars, seeking aid from any species strong enough to intervene. The SOS signal cuts through the vast emptiness of space like a flare of hope and despair combined. It travels for years, bouncing between systems until it reaches a species the Zephyrians barely understand: humans. To the Zephyrians, humanity is an enigma, feared and mythologized as Deathworlders, beings born from a harsh, unforgiving planet where survival meant mastering deadly environments, overcoming toxic atmospheres, and conquering ruthless predators. Legends speak of humanity's unmatched resilience, their ability to thrive where others perish. For the Zephyrians, calling on humans is a gamble born from necessity, perhaps the only species capable of turning the tide of their war. Back on Earth, the reception of the SOS signal triggers immediate alarm and intrigue. Governments, scientific agencies, and military organizations rush to decode the message. The transmission is complex and layered with encrypted data about the Zephyrians' dire situation, their coordinates, and a plea for assistance. The message also carries a subtle warning. The Zephyrians are at war, and any intervention comes with significant risk. Debate erupts across Earth's global leadership and among experts. Some see the SOS as an opportunity, a chance to extend humanity's influence beyond the solar system, to forge alliances and to gain access to alien technology that could accelerate Earth's development. Others caution that responding to a distress call from an unknown species, especially one from a war-torn death world, might be a trap or worse, a suicide mission. Military analysts emphasize humanity's unique evolutionary advantage. Our origin on a planet rife with dangers has made us expert survivors and fierce combatants. Our history of overcoming natural disasters, disease, and conflict has forged an indomitable spirit. Could this be what the Zephyrians need? Yet some diplomats worry that humanity's aggressive reputation might complicate interstellar diplomacy. After intense deliberation, a decision is made. Humanity will respond, but cautiously. An advanced exploratory fleet is assembled, comprised of the most sophisticated starships and best-trained crews Earth can muster. This fleet's mission is not to launch a full-scale war, but to investigate, assess, and if possible, offer aid. The hope is to establish contact, evaluate the Zephyrians' true intentions, and determine the risks involved. As the fleet prepares to depart, anticipation mixes with anxiety. Broadcasts across Earth debate the ethics and dangers of the mission. Families of crew members watch as their loved ones step aboard starships bound for the unknown. Scientists fine-tune their equipment to monitor every detail. Military commanders review protocols for potential combat scenarios. Finally, the fleet crosses the threshold of the solar system, setting a course for the distant Zephyrian system. The weight of humanity's future rests on this expedition. The SOS beacon, once a distant signal of despair, now carries humanity into the stars. What awaits them is unknown: allies, enemies, or something far more complicated. But one thing is certain: humans are ready to face whatever comes, because on Deathworld Earth, survival isn't just a skill, it's a legacy. The human exploratory fleet, after months of travel through the cold void of space, finally reaches the Zephyrian system. As they approach the coordinates provided by the SOS signal, what greets them is unlike anything they expected. The Zephyrian homeworld is no pristine, advanced utopia, but a brutal, ravaged death world in its own right. A harsh, dangerous planet, battered by decades of war and environmental collapse. The fleet's sensors pick up the first alarming signs: widespread atmospheric contamination, radiation spikes, and massive areas scorched by weapon fire. The once vibrant cities the Zephyrians had boasted about in their transmission are now nothing more than ruins, half buried beneath layers of ash and toxic dust. The hostile terrain is filled with jagged mountain ranges, acid lakes, and sprawling wastelands where dangerous creatures roam unchecked. This is a planet where survival demands every ounce of skill and determination, a true death world. Human commanders quickly realize their training on Earth's own deadly landscapes, jungles teeming with predators, deserts with lethal heat, and toxic swamps, will be put to the ultimate test here. Deploying ground teams requires extreme caution, but the stakes are too high to hold back. They send scouting parties to establish contact with the Zephyrian remnants, using diplomatic protocols mixed with military readiness. What the humans discover shocks them further. The Zephyrians who answer their calls are desperate and fractured, burdened by fear and distrust. Their initial greetings are tense. The aliens' behavior hints at a traumatic past, and the survivors seem haunted by shadows not fully explained. In the SOS message, the Zephyrians plead for urgent military assistance to defend their remaining strongholds from relentless attacks by a ruthless enemy. As humans begin to investigate, they uncover disturbing truths. The Zephyrian situation is far worse than they anticipated. Their war is not just a desperate defense, it is a calculated and brutal conflict. Some survivors reveal that the Zephyrians had provoked other civilizations to war to protect their dwindling resources, using aggressive tactics that many would label as merciless. The innocent victim narrative becomes blurred as humans hear stories of betrayals, sabotage, and alien alliances forged in shadow. The uneasy alliance begins to strain. Human leaders question whether they are walking into a trap or getting drawn into a conflict that is not theirs. However, leaving the Zephyrians to their fate could mean allowing a genocidal war to continue unchecked, potentially destabilizing the entire region of space. In a tense meeting, Zephyrian leaders admit they see humans as their last hope, a species with the tenacity and strength to tip the scales. They make it clear that their request for aid is not just for humanitarian reasons, but for survival and victory. They want humans to join their war effort, to bring their Deathworlder ferocity to bear against the enemy that threatens to annihilate them all. The humans now face a dilemma. Will they become allies in a war they barely understand? Will their intervention escalate the conflict, making enemies of powerful forces in the galaxy? Or will they withdraw, leaving the Zephyrians to be crushed and risking their own future security if that enemy turns its attention toward Earth? As the fleet's command debates the next move, reports come in of enemy forces mobilizing nearby. The situation escalates rapidly. The humans must prepare for the possibility that their mission of investigation will turn into a full-scale war. Their survival skills, tactical expertise, and will to fight are about to be tested in ways none of them imagined when they first answered the SOS. As tensions rise on the ravaged Zephyrian homeworld, humanity's exploratory fleet digs deeper into the conflict threatening this alien race. The initial hope that the Zephyrians might simply be victims in a brutal war begins to unravel, revealing far more complex and dangerous realities. The true enemy behind the devastation soon comes into focus: the Kryzaks, a merciless and technologically advanced alien force bent on conquest and subjugation. The Kryzaks are infamous across multiple star systems for their relentless military campaigns, ruthlessly absorbing or destroying any species that stand in their way. They are warlike, with vast armadas equipped with devastating weapons and a reputation for brutal occupation and exploitation. Their ideology revolves around absolute control, viewing all other life as inferior or expendable. For the Zephyrians, the Kryzaks represent an existential threat, a war they have fought for decades and are now losing. Human intelligence operatives and scouts collect fragments of intercepted Kryzaks communications and battlefield reports. The evidence paints a chilling picture. The Kryzaks have no intention of negotiating or retreating. Their goal is total annihilation of the Zephyrians or complete domination of their territory. Their fleets are massive, their tactics brutal, and their soldiers, bioengineered for aggression, seem nearly unstoppable. However, the humans' investigations reveal something unexpected. The Zephyrians themselves may have played a dangerous role in provoking the Kryzaks' wrath. Some of the Zephyrian factions appear to have engaged in aggressive territorial expansions and resource raids, triggering the Chrysax's military response. Far from innocent victims, these revelations paint the Zephyrians as a fractured civilization, whose desperate actions may have accelerated their downfall. This truth fractures the uneasy alliance forming between humans and Zephyrians. Human commanders face a difficult ethical dilemma. Should they throw their weight behind an alien race that may have contributed to the bloodshed? Yet withdrawing support could doom not only the Zephyrians, but destabilize the entire region, allowing the Chrysax to continue their unchecked conquest. Amid this uncertainty, reconnaissance teams detect a Chrysax fleet of unprecedented size moving toward the Zephyrian system. The warning triggers alarms across the human fleet. Military leaders recognize that an invasion force of this magnitude will test even humanity's renowned combat skills and Deathworlders' survival instincts. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, the tension is palpable. The local populations are weary and distrustful, split between those who want humans to fight alongside them and those who fear humans will be used as expendable pawns. Some Zephyrian leaders press for immediate war. Others seek diplomatic or covert solutions, hoping to avoid further devastation. Meanwhile, human tactical teams begin to adapt their strategies. They study the Chrysax's brutal warfare techniques and seek ways to exploit weaknesses. Their experience on Earth's harsh environments gives them an edge in guerrilla warfare and unconventional combat, which may become crucial in the coming battles. As the Chrysax fleet draws closer, a covert mission reveals an unsettling secret. The Chrysax have targeted multiple systems beyond Zephyrian space, including planets rumored to be close to Earth's trade routes. This implies Earth and humanity may soon become a target if they do not act. The story's stakes skyrocket. What started as a mission to aid a distant alien race now threatens to engulf humanity in an interstellar war. The Zephyrians' plea for help has drawn humans into a deadly conflict with a formidable enemy. Faced with this grim reality, humanity's leaders must make their choice: fight alongside the Zephyrians and risk the wrath of the Chrysax, or withdraw and prepare Earth's defenses for an inevitable war on its doorstep. In this crucible of war and morality, humanity's true nature as Deathworlders begins to shine. Whether as saviors, warriors, or survivors, humans stand ready to strike back. The arrival of the Chrysax fleet in the Zephyrian system marks a critical turning point. With the enemy closing in, humanity and the Zephyrians face a dire choice: fight for survival or surrender to annihilation. Despite the risks and the complex political and ethical dilemmas, humanity's answer is clear: they will stand and fight. Human commanders convene emergency war councils aboard their flagship, pooling intelligence gathered from reconnaissance and intercepted communications. They know that the Chrysax possess overwhelming firepower, superior numbers, and a ruthless disregard for life. Yet humans also bring unique advantages to the battlefield: experience in survival against harsh environments, adaptable tactics born of countless wars on Earth, and technological innovations designed to maximize guerrilla warfare effectiveness. The humans quickly deploy specialized squads to the Zephyrian surface. These units, composed of elite soldiers trained in Earth's most hostile regions, begin employing unconventional tactics that take advantage of the planet's treacherous terrain. They use dense toxic jungles, irradiated wastelands, and cavernous mountain networks as natural fortresses, setting traps and ambushes that bewilder the Chrysax invaders. Human survival instincts, honed over millennia on a death world, prove invaluable. They adapt quickly to the brutal conditions, learning to harness local flora and fauna as part of their defense. The human soldiers' resilience under fire and refusal to surrender inspire the weary Zephyrians, who had grown disheartened after years of conflict. On the technological front, Earth scientists work alongside Zephyrian engineers to integrate human weaponry with alien technology. This hybridization creates new armaments that combine the lethality of human ballistic and energy weapons with Zephyrian stealth and shielding systems. Drones equipped for reconnaissance and sabotage are launched deep behind enemy lines, striking at Chrysax supply routes and command centers. As battles rage across multiple fronts, both on the surface and in orbit, the humans' unorthodox strategies begin turning the tide. The Kryzaks, accustomed to overwhelming firepower and traditional battle tactics, find themselves outmaneuvered and suffering heavier losses. Human fighters employ hit-and-run attacks, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare, eroding the Kryzaks' morale and resources. However, the war's cost weighs heavily. The human fleet sustains casualties, and many soldiers face physical and psychological scars. Some Zephyrians remain skeptical or hostile toward their new allies, fearing that humanity's involvement might escalate the conflict or lead to a takeover. Amid the chaos, human commanders maintain strict discipline and clear objectives. They emphasize that humanity's involvement is not about conquest but survival, and a chance to prove that Deathworlders are not just mercenaries but protectors capable of standing against overwhelming odds. The turning point comes during a daring mission to disrupt the Kryzaks' primary supply hub. A combined team of human and Zephyrian operatives infiltrates the heavily fortified facility, destroying key logistics nodes and crippling the enemy's capacity to resupply frontline forces. This strike significantly slows the Kryzaks' advance and buys precious time for the defenders. Despite these successes, humanity is aware that the war is far from over. The Kryzaks' leadership remains unyielding, and intelligence reports suggest they are preparing for an even larger assault. The humans realize that to survive and ultimately prevail, they must escalate their efforts and forge even stronger alliances. The arrival of reinforcements, including additional human battalions and newly allied species, inspired by humanity's valor, marks a hopeful turn. Together they form a coalition of Deathworlders and allies, united by a shared determination to repel the Kryzaks' threat. As the battle for the Zephyrian system intensifies, humanity's resolve is unmistakable. They are no longer mere visitors or reluctant participants. They are warriors forged by hardship, ready to strike back with all their strength and ingenuity. After months of brutal combat in the Zephyrian system, the war has reached a brutal stalemate. The Kryzaks' forces remain relentless, their vast fleets and legions pushing hard to crush the last pockets of resistance. Human and Zephyrian fighters have fought valiantly, but the heavy toll weighs on both sides. It becomes clear that conventional warfare alone won't be enough to tip the balance. Humanity must unleash something new, something the Kryzaks never expected. Deep within a hidden Earth research facility orbiting a nearby moon, scientists and engineers have been working tirelessly on a classified project, an experimental weapon system designed specifically for Deathworld combat. It's a fusion of cutting-edge human technology and recovered Zephyrian tech, incorporating adaptive AI, bioengineered materials, and devastating energy output far beyond anything previously deployed in this war. This weapon isn't just a new gun or ship. It's a game-changer, an intelligent, autonomous battle platform known as the Leviathan. Towering and heavily armored, the Leviathan combines the resilience of Earth's toughest battle machines with the alien tech's ability to manipulate local environments and deploy biomechanical drones. It can survive conditions that would destroy ordinary war machines and adapt on the fly to enemy tactics. The Leviathan's development was a closely guarded secret, known only to a handful of high-ranking commanders and scientists. As the Kryzaks prepare for what they hope will be the final assault, humanity unveils this secret weapon. The announcement shocks allies and enemies alike. Some see it as a beacon of hope, others as a terrifying escalation. When the Leviathan is deployed to the front lines, it immediately turns the tide. Its presence on the battlefield boosts morale among human and Zephyrian troops, who now fight with renewed vigor and confidence. The Leviathan's advanced sensors detect Kryzaks' ambushes before they occur, while its array of weapons, ranging from plasma cannons to swarm drones, rip through enemy formations with devastating efficiency. What truly sets the Leviathan apart is its AI-driven combat intelligence. It learns from every engagement, predicting Kryzak strategies and adapting in real time. It coordinates with human squads and Zephyrian units, orchestrating complex maneuvers that confuse and overwhelm the enemy. Kryzak's commanders scramble to respond, But the Leviathan's ability to improvise in the field outmatches even their most seasoned tacticians. The Kryzaks launch desperate counterattacks, targeting the Leviathan with their deadliest weapons. But the Leviathan endures, using its bioengineered shields and self-repair mechanisms to withstand barrages that would obliterate conventional forces. Its drones swarm enemy armor, sabotaging supplies and communications. Behind the scenes, the Leviathan's AI also begins analyzing the Kryzaks' command networks, searching for vulnerabilities. It uncovers secret supply depots and command nodes hidden beneath the planet's surface, targets that, if destroyed, could cripple the Kryzaks' war effort. A bold plan emerges. Human and Zephyrian leaders decide to use the Leviathan not just as a frontline warrior, but as the spearhead of a covert strike deep into Kryzaks' territory. A combined force will follow the Leviathan's path, attacking these critical nodes to disrupt the enemy's ability to coordinate and resupply. The strike is launched amid fierce fighting, with the Leviathan leading the charge. The battle is brutal and costly, pushing both sides to the brink. But the mission succeeds in shattering the Kryzaks' infrastructure, sowing chaos in their ranks. As Kryzaks' forces reel from these setbacks, the balance of power begins to shift dramatically. The tide of war is turning, and humanity's secret weapon proves that even the deadliest Deathworlders can strike back harder than anyone imagined. The destruction wrought by the Leviathan's strike on the Kryzaks' hidden command and supply bases has shattered the enemy's war machine. Yet the Kryzaks remain a formidable foe, proud, brutal, and desperate to reclaim their lost power. The war's final chapter begins as both sides prepare for a decisive confrontation that will determine the fate of the Zephyrian system, and potentially the wider galaxy. Human and Zephyrian forces, bolstered by newfound confidence and alliances, forged through shared sacrifice, rally for what will be the ultimate battle. The humans' commitment has transformed the conflict. No longer merely outsiders answering a call for help, they have become integral warriors shaping the fate of the region. The Kryzaks retaliate with a massive counteroffensive. Their armadas, though diminished and disorganized, unleash waves of assault on human and Zephyrian positions. Their warships bombard planetary defenses, while elite Kryzaks ground forces push to reclaim critical strongholds. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity's Deathworlder resilience and strategic innovation hold firm. Soldiers fight with fierce determination, knowing the future of their home and countless other worlds hangs in the balance. The Leviathan leads the defense once again, its battle-hardened AI coordinating strikes and adapting tactics as the enemy evolves. In the thick of battle, human commanders execute coordinated operations with Zephyrian allies, launching simultaneous attacks that fracture the Kryzaks' forces. Stealth squads sabotage enemy logistics, snipers pick off key officers, and drone swarms disrupt communications. Amid the chaos, a critical breakthrough comes when a coalition strike team infiltrates the Kryzaks' flagship. They confront the enemy's high command in a desperate bid to decapitate their leadership. The mission succeeds, but at great cost. Many operatives fall, and the flagship is crippled but not destroyed. The Kryzaks' command structure begins to crumble, leading to confusion and infighting among their ranks. This disarray is exploited by the combined human Zephyrian forces, pressing their advantage relentlessly. As the battle reaches its climax, the Kryzaks launch a final, desperate assault aimed at overwhelming the defenders and forcing a surrender. The humans and their allies brace for impact, standing shoulder to shoulder amid the storm of destruction. In a moment that defines the war, the Leviathan makes its last, most daring stand. It spearheads a counterattack deep into the heart of the enemy fleet, drawing fire and sacrificing itself to buy time for the coalition's main forces to regroup and push forward. The loss of the Leviathan galvanizes the defenders. Inspired by its sacrifice, soldiers fight with renewed vigor. Slowly, the Kryzaks' forces break, retreating into the void or surrendering en masse. The war ends not with a grand peace treaty, but with a hard-earned victory born of resilience, sacrifice, and unity. The Zephyrian homeworld is left scarred but free, its people forever changed by the intervention of humanity and their own survival instincts. In the aftermath, Humans and Zephyrians begin rebuilding, forging stronger bonds and sharing technology and knowledge. The wider galaxy takes notice of humanity's role in defeating the Kryzaks, a fierce race of Deathworlders whose tenacity and adaptability have altered the balance of power. Yet the story closes with a cautionary note. The galaxy is vast and full of threats. The Kryzaks may have been pushed back, but they are not destroyed. Humanity's involvement has made them a major player in interstellar politics and war, a position they must navigate carefully. As Earth's fleets prepare to return home, their warriors carry the scars and stories of a distant war that proved one undeniable truth: never underestimate the Deathworlders. When humanity strikes back, it does so with relentless force and a warning that echoes across the stars.